I thought I could handle it. Patrick, his eyes stormy and sharp, a presence that made my chest tighten from the first second we met. I swore I'd stay distant, that I wouldn't let desire win, but every close brush, every whispered word, broke my defenses. That night in the mountain lodge, with rain thrumming against the windows and thunder shaking the walls, I realized resisting was impossible. His approach wasn't just physical. It was electric, magnetic, suffocating in the best way. And when he finally closed the distance, my breath caught, my heart surrendered, and I had no choice but to fall. Sometimes the storm outside is nothing compared to the one building inside you. The lodge was alive with the storm. Lightning cast jagged shadows across the steel and wood interior, rain hammering against the panoramic windows. I curled up on the plush leather couch, pretending to read a book, though my mind was elsewhere on Patrick. He moved through the lodge like he owned every space, though I knew he was just as captivated as I was. His dark shirt clung to him, sleeves rolled up, beige pants shifting with every step. My own teal shirt and maroon pants suddenly felt tight, confining, every nerve alert as if the storm outside mirrored the tension inside. The closer he moves, the harder it is to breathe, and the harder it is to resist. "You're quiet," he said, voice low, carrying over the wind and thunder. "I'm fine," I answered too quickly, heat rising in my chest. Patrick stopped, leaning against the edge of the fireplace. Thunder rolled, momentarily drowning his words, and I realized my voice sounded small, brittle, betraying everything I wanted to hide. "Fine," he pressed, stepping closer. "You're shaking, and it's not the cold. There's danger in a man who knows exactly what you're hiding before you even admit it." I tried to shift away, to give myself space, but the couch seemed smaller, the lodge tighter, as if it were conspiring with him. He crouched slightly, his hand brushing mine. A spark ran through me, catching me off guard. "Patrick." I started, but the word died on my lips, replaced by a shiver I couldn't explain. "You don't have to say anything," he whispered. "I already know." The lightning flashed again, illuminating his sharp features, eyes like dark pools. I couldn't look away. My chest tightened, and every rational thought I clung to slipped farther away. Once you realize desire as one, denial feels like a lie. He stepped even closer, and the storm's roar outside matched the pounding of my heart. My hands gripped the couch cushions, half to steady myself, half to stop myself from grabbing him. "You've been resisting this since the moment we arrived," Patrick said softly, voice carrying over the rain. "And I've been waiting for you to admit it." I couldn't. Not yet. But my body betrayed me, leaning into his presence. Wanting every inch of him, I try to deny. The moment he reads your every heartbeat is the moment resistance starts to crumble. Patrick lowered his head, close enough that I felt the heat of his breath on my cheek. His hand moved slowly, almost teasing, brushing against my arm, tracing a path up to my shoulder. "I can't," I began, but he silenced me with a look, one sharp, magnetic glance that rendered me speechless. "You can," he murmured. "You just won't admit it." The firelight flickered, casting shadows across his face, turning him into something both dangerous and irresistible. My body reacted before my brain could catch up. Sometimes surrender isn't weakness. It's the only truth left standing. I tried to pull away, but the couch made no difference. Patrick's presence was overwhelming, a gravitational pull I couldn't fight. "Patrick," I whispered again, voice shaking. I can't." "You already are," he said simply, leaning closer, his lips brushing mine ever so slightly. That single touch, feather-light but electric, left me breathless. The storm outside raged, but inside the lodge it was just him and me, the heat between us louder than thunder. One touch, one look, and everything you swore you could control evaporates. Patrick didn't pull away. Instead, he hovered closer, his presence suffocating in the best possible way. The firelight flickered across his sharp features, reflecting in his dark eyes as he studied me like he could read every secret thought. My chest rose and fell faster than it had all evening. Sometimes the hardest breaths come from desire you refuse to admit. The rain pounded the glass windows, lightning casting jagged silver across the walls. I could feel the storm outside in my bones, but Patrick's nearness was a different kind of storm, intense, electric, and impossible to resist. "You're trembling," he murmured, brushing a stray hair from my forehead. His hand lingered, soft but insistent. I swallowed, caught between fear and longing. "I can't." He shook his head, a teasing smirk tugging at his lips. "Yes, you can. You're just afraid to want it. The more you fight desire, the stronger it pulls you in." Patrick moved, closing the last space between us, and my hands, traitorous, found themselves resting against his chest. His warmth was intoxicating. I wanted to pull back, to remind myself of logic, but every nerve in my body screamed in the opposite direction. "You've been pretending since the first moment," he whispered, voice low, almost drowned by the storm. "And I've been waiting for this exact second." The words hung in the air, electric and dangerous. My pulse raced. I could feel his heartbeat through his shirt, steady and firm, anchoring me while also unraveling every ounce control I had left. One confession, one spark, and the dam of resistance breaks. The fire popped loudly, shadows dancing across the lodge walls. Patrick leaned closer, his lips just brushing mine. The lightest touch, teasing, enough to make my knees weak. I let out a shaky breath and suddenly realized I didn't want to pull away anymore. "I can't," I murmured, voice barely audible. "Yes," he said softly, pressing closer. "You can and you will." The heat from his body, the brush of his lips, the electric storm of his gaze, everything about Patrick made restraint impossible. My hand slid around his neck, pulling him toward me, and for the first time, I stopped pretending. Desire doesn't negotiate, it overwhelms. The rain rattled against the windows like a drum roll as Patrick finally closed the distance fully, lips meeting mine in a kiss that was desperate, slow, and consuming. Every second stretched. Every heartbeat matched the rhythm of the storm outside. I felt myself surrender, falling into the depth of something I had tried to resist for far too long. His hands moved with intent, guiding me against the couch, yet never forceful, always tender, always intentional. The world narrowed, just in me and the wild storm surrounding the lodge. A kiss can burn, heal, and destroy, all at once. I gasped between breaths, Patrick's hands warm against my skin. He whispered my name, low, reverent, a sound that made every nerve in me fire. "Patrick," I whispered, trembling. I can't hold back anymore." His smirk softened into a full, genuine smile. "Good," he murmured. "You don't have to." The storm outside intensified, thunder rolling like applause, while inside the lodge, we finally gave into the tension that had been building for hours. Every brush of skin, every whispered word, every heartbeat brought us closer to something inevitable. Once you give into what you've been running from, there's no turning back. Patrick's lips traced my jaw, down to my neck, leaving a trail of warmth that burned yet comforted. I pressed into him, no longer afraid, no longer resisting. "I can't believe I fought it this long," I admitted, voice breaking softly. "Neither can I," he said, eyes dark, lips brushing mine again. "But you're here now. That's all that matters." The fire dwindled to embers, rain still drumming the windows, and the mountain around us seemed to fade away. In that lodge, amidst the storm, it was only him and me, bodies and hearts finally aligned. The storm outside is nothing compared to the storm we let ourselves become. Hours later, curled against each other on the leather couch, the last flicker of candlelight casting golden shadows, I realized I had never breathed this deeply, felt this alive, or wanted anyone this completely. Patrick's hand rested on mine, his thumb tracing circles over my palm. I closed my eyes, heart still racing, knowing that the distance I had kept was gone forever. "And now," I whispered. "Now," he said, smiling against my hair, "we see where the storm takes us. Some storms destroy everything, but the right one builds something unforgettable.